We've had some great raunchy comedies come out this year during the summer. No Hard Feelings and Joyride are two that really stand out for me. But I think Strays is leading the pack. I think it's the funniest movie I've seen all year, but with some caveats. Let's get into the premise. Abandoned on the mean city streets by his low-life owner, Doug, a native but lovable dog named Reggie falls in with a fast-talking, foul-mouthed Boston Terrier and his gang of strays. Determined to seek revenge, Reggie and his new canine pals embark on an epic adventure to get him home and make Doug pay for his dirty deed. Creators behind this film use the trope and the themes of found family throughout this film, with the dogs who are from different families kind of creating a family in itself. And we see that very, very popular these days. Guardians of the Galaxy, one of the biggest movies about found family, people you love that's not your blood. But what they do here is bring a lot of heart to it, but also do it in a very hilarious way. The comedy here is in similar vein of Cocaine Bear, 21 Jump Street, and like other movies like Seth Rogen era films that he's done in the past. They portray human issues like insecurities, loneliness, abandonment, and when you're abused, but in a funny, hilarious, and heartwarming way at the same time, while adding the canine fun to it. All the things we think dogs might be thinking about when we're not watching, or even when we are watching, they display here in very clever and fun ways that bring these dogs to life. The venture is homeward bound, but the end goal is to bite Doug's dick off, which has been the selling point of all the trailers, and it is as gross, juvenile, and as hilarious as it sounds. They really use this premise to build layers about the dog and talk about all those different things, but use it as a very good comedy moments throughout. But the characters carry this movie, with Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx being the standouts. They play Reggie and Bug respectively, and Reggie is this sweet, lovable, but very, 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 very naive dog who gets stranded by his owner, very, very abused and neglected, and once the owner strands him in the middle of the city, Bug, played by Jamie Foxx, is the one that finds him. He's a stray that helps him understand the streets and the rules of being a stray, and brings him into his gang of other strays and shows him the ways of how to be on their own without an owner. And Isla Fisher and Randall Park are also the other two strays in this film, and they add and balance out to the humor and the serious part. Their budding friendship altogether was very touching and reminded me of the old school, like early 2000s, maybe late 90s films where it was a bunch of kids coming together to go on an adventure, and you see that back and forth, that budding like friendship, and how it builds together and how they bounce off each other and form this bond that's unbreakable. I really, really enjoyed their back and forth and all the jokes in between them. The movie is paced pretty well, and it's like laugh but almost per minute. It's just joke after joke after joke, and you get some heartwarming epic adventure stuff going on. The dogs peeing on each other to mark territory, different dog rules that they have to follow in the streets so that they don't mess with somebody else's property, and the adventure that they're going on and trying to find their way back to Doug's house is just really, really fun, because there's certain things that the dogs see and it's one way, but when you see what they're talking about and how it is from a human's perspective, it's absolutely hilarious. And I think they did a great job with the lip syncing, which I was wondering about how that was going to work. 90% of the time, it actually looks like the dogs are saying what they're supposed to be saying. And I think that the writers and the performances really bring out the jokes in a really, really fun way. This movie is gross. I'm not going to lie. And I'm not usually easily queasy, when I'm watching a movie, but there's certain parts of this, and obviously they're dogs, so there's going to be some nasty grossness, poops, and and other different throw up and other different things that are going on. But there's certain parts of the movie that made me gag a bit, and I was like, okay, this is a bit too much. But it is also kind of like part of the charm of the film, because it is exploring the things that dogs do. But it's just like, ugh. This is just a warning to, if you're easily queasy, this movie is going to be a lot for you. And also, if you're not a fan of seeing animals get hurt or be punished or be abused in any way, there's going to be certain parts of this movie that's going to be rough to watch, because that is a central theme. They use a lot of things about gaslighting and abuse that humans go through, and like show it how we kind of do it to our dogs and don't think about it, but how like we treat our dogs in the same way how abuser may treat a human. So I think that those are parts of the film that are really strong, but if you are sensitive to those subjects, it may be hard for you to watch. Overall, I love this movie. This is one of my favorite movies of the year. It was so funny, so fun. I love the characters and the chemistry and the journey that they went on, and I love the heart in the film, despite all the grossness that may almost maybe gag. But I think if you're a fan of films from Seth Rogen, if you're a fan of Chris and Lord Miller's kind of style of comedy, because they produced this film, you can see that they influenced some of the writing in here. And if you're just a fan of like stuff like Cocaine Bear that came out early this year, 21 Jump Street, that kind of comedy, I think this is gonna be right down your alley and just be like a reminder of how films used to be back in the 90s, but in a modern, updated fashion. So run to the theaters, go check this out, because I think in packs like dogs, and go check this movie out because I think it's really worth seeing it in a big crowd. So with that said, I'm gonna give Strays a B+. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What would you rate Strays if you got to see it? If you did not see it yet, please let me know in the comments below if my review has pushed you towards checking it out. Like this video to get this video popping, subscribe to the channel, and hit this notification bell to be notified of my reviews, reactions, live discussions, and much, much more. And you can catch more of my content right now.